Well, there we go. Now I'm not on mute anymore. Sorry. I didn't realize I was on mute that entire time I was talking. However, I am having a hard time. Okay, I'm pausing for a minute because I'm curious what it's going to show on Facebook, because Joey, on my screen, all I see is you. Oh, hello. And we have Bernie as well. That's awesome. Uh, so loving technology, we're live, I guess, and don't know what's happening, but here we are. Thank you for being here. And I'm just going to pray in and we'll just go from there, because who knows what's going to happen. Deep breath. Knowing that grounded in this moment right here, right now, there is only one life. There is only one life. That life is perfect. And that life is the life of God. That life is the life of God, of the divine presence, of the universe, of source. And that life, I know, makes itself present, makes itself expressed through every single being on this earth. Whether it's my life, someone else's life, the life of every animal, tree, flower, person, everywhere. No one is exempt from it. And so I give thanks knowing that this one perfect life that expresses through all of us is the grounding source, and is what I want to talk about tonight. Because where else does everything come from? We all spring forth from this one life, and knowing that this is what makes us connected, but also gives us our uniqueness. I am grateful, and so it is. And here we are opening. And I'm really sorry. I really need a tech aid, because now all of a sudden where my live is supposed to be, there's a parental advisory and there's something else showing on Facebook. So I don't know what's going on. I'm just going to pretend like I don't see it. So hi guys, thank you for joining me. So I want to talk tonight about, do animals have souls? Because I've had quite a few clients actually ask me that. And it's a good question. So I want to start with just saying or asking, what is a soul? I just want to start with what are we referring to as souls? And Bernie and Joey, if you want to be part of the conversation, I invite you to just go ahead and unmute and talk. Hopefully no one has said anything yet, because I haven't heard anything yet. So I'm just hoping that you haven't said anything. And if I can get comments out there from YouTube or Facebook, that's great too. But don't promise I can see them though. I'm doing what I can. Anyways, so what is a soul? So in tonight's conversation, I would like to say that I'm using the word soul to mean that part of us as a person, that part of us that exists before we come to Earth and exists after we leave Earth. It's the never-ending essence of who we are. And so if we are all springing out of divine source, it's the soul is what makes us individual. So it's like the clothes that the soul puts on to be seen by everyone else. It is how we show up, and I don't mean on earth, but I mean how we show up in our spiritual essence infinitely. Oh, okay. I'm hearing things now. Are you guys hearing things? This is my experiment. I'm hearing myself like 5 minutes ago. I gotta close this down. I gotta close my Facebook down. Comedy of errors tonight. Yay. Okay, but you know what? I don't care. We're going with it. So anyway, so that's how I'm referring to soul. Do I have any input, any questions on that? Any comments, anything like that before I move on? So then my two clients, actually I've had a few clients, more than two, but the two that I just want to mention tonight, one of them whose vet had told her that the dog would not, the dog's soul evolution would be not let's see, how did she say it? If the dog was euthanized, it would not contribute to the evolution of the soul of the dog, is the essence of what she said. And so there was that question. That was like that. She just hit me with that first thing because I talk with a lot of deceased animals, and so that's where this is based from. And then the other person was whose friends had been telling her that animals don't have any souls. So she had lost her dog. She had lost several dogs lately, and her friends were telling her animals don't have any souls. And so what is she so, upset about? And I have to tell you, both those things, they bothered me because I talk to the energies of deceased animals all the time. And so I'm just going to straight out say right now, before we discuss anything, is that yes, of course they have souls. So we hear a lot that we are here, humans are here on Earth as human beings, to have a soul, to evolve our soul, that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. But the same is true for animals. Okay, so the animals suit up. Animals are spiritual beings, just like humans are, and they suit up in their animal suits and come to Earth. And what it looks like on the other side, as far as what we looked like before we came to Earth, and what our dog or cat or horse looked like before they came to Earth, I think they're a lot the same. Now, I can't say that without, I haven't been there and back, in my memory. But that's been my experience in what I've read, in what I've talked to people, and in talking with the animals that I've talked with. So would that change how people feel about things? I wonder if, I'd love to have a conversation if anyone wants to offer anything, has any input, has any questions, because I believe our animals are here to help us as much as we are here to help them, but we help each other's soul evolve. And I don't know that I believe in soul mates per se. I mean, maybe one-on-one, maybe, but I believe we have soul friends or soul pods or soul collectives. And I think they include animals, and I think they include people. And sometimes I think we want to suit up, not we, but a soul wants to suit up as an animal because they can help us in a different way than people can, because we have different relationships with our animals than we have with people. Agreed? And it's absolutely normal that we get very attached to our animals because, generally speaking, we pet them way more than we pet people, over the course of 10, 15, 20 years, depending on the animal and how long we've personally had them. We touch them physically way more than we touch other people. And touching imprints people, well, not just people, beings together. So it's mystery why it's so hard to lose an animal, and it's absolutely understandable. So not only do we touch them so much more, but we confide in them often so much more. We talk to them. I mean, I think even for married couples or even with parent-child relationships, we often still spend more time talking, touching the animals than we do the people. And certainly if we grow up, if we get older, if we're the only ones, living with the animal, then absolutely that's true. Okay, I'm going to pause for a minute. I'm just going to give anyone an opportunity to talk. I don't want to talk over anyone.
Well, I would say it was amazing that I searched that very question and then you came up with that on Facebook the same day. I thought that's not by mistake, but because I know it's customary for people, the first sign of a dog beginning a transition, to euthanize it. And I started to look into that, and it just didn't feel right to me because who am I to intervene or interfere with his process? And his transition is as much perhaps affecting my soul as much as it's affecting his. And I think our dogs, once they become attached to us, remain in our, like you were saying, our pods, even after death, even like our ancestors do. Someone told me that my other dog, Grady, was still hanging around me. Someone, that knows about such things. So I find it so. I've just, been thinking about that very subject. So thank you for bringing this conversation.
Absolutely. Happy to have it. Happy to have it. So, it's an interesting question about euthanasia. Obviously, I don't have the answers, but here's what I do know is that animals that I have specifically asked, now this doesn't come up all the time, people don't always want to know, but I believe there are times that the animal and the human specifically have some kind of a contract that the human's going to make that decision. So, and and I can't judge anyone's relationship and contract because I don't know. I'm not privy to that information. But like you said, it's as much a development for the human as it is for the dog or the cat. And if there's so much tied into it. Obviously, we don't want to make a decision too soon. We don't want to make it too late. We don't want them to suffer, but we want them to live as long as they can. And we feel like we don't know when that time is right. We so often feel like, I don't know. How am I supposed to know? How am I supposed to know? But I think there's some intuition that tells us that we do know. And I haven't had an animal tell me it was too soon or it was too late yet. I don't know that that's possible, but I also know that animals, it's probably the same with humans, except I'm not a human medium, so I don't talk to humans after they've died. But my guess is, I forgot what I was going to say. My guess is that, that once they have passed on, the timing is perfect for them. They don't fear it, and of course they feel good. They always feel good on the other side. They're so often free from their body, and sometimes they absolutely miss their people. Yeah, unquestionably, they do miss cuddling. They do miss being with them, but they also feel like they're still with them. I think animals by nature have a connection with humans and with other animals that we don't have because we're too into objects and the whole self-awareness thing that worrying about what did we do or what are we going to do about anything. You know, so humans do think a lot more than animals do, for sure, as far as problems. There's a guru, well, I don't know what he is, Sadhguru, I think is his name. And he says that, you know, if you're hungry, you have one problem: you want to eat. But if you're well fed, then you have 1,000 problems, because as a human, we just have so many problems that the animals don't worry about. So passing on is actually not as much of an issue to them as it is for us. Not to say they don't love their life, not to say they don't love their people, but the timing, I believe the person and the animal, their timing, their contract with timing is something innate that we can't know. I am going through it with a cat right now, to be honest. It's like, is she going to do this on her own? Am I going to have to make that decision? So, you know, it doesn't get any easier for me just because I have this experience. It's an ongoing problem, I think, with anyone that loves an animal. We're afraid we're going to make the wrong decision, even though I kind of know we can't, because their soul evolution is going to continue anyway. And I think, you know, like I said before, part of the purpose, we have a purpose on ourselves. The animals have a purpose on their own here, but we also have our purposes in our relationship together. And so either way, there's going to be some kind of a lesson. Either way, we learn. It's just like there's no mistakes, which can be kind of a hard thing to accept, that there's no mistakes, but I believe it's true. So, yeah. And I just I mentioned it briefly. So they have their own purpose here as well. And it's not always strictly to serve us. I talk a lot about archetypes and like a hero dog being here, wanting to serve its purpose as, you know, being out there, being a hero, or being a nurturer, or being a lover, or being whatever they are. The basic human archetypes also apply to animals, because we are still the same spiritual beings. And the archetypes are a universal thing. They're not just a human thing. Now, a messenger archetype is probably not going to be an animal, but there are definitely the primary archetypes apply to all animals as well. So they all explore those, explore the purpose associated with their personal archetypes as well. And we, as people, we get to help them, or we get to help let them help us with that. And it helps us to look at our relationship together. If you have a strong wandering archetype in your house that you don't want to lock up, or that you have to lock up, then we have to help them explore that side of them in other ways than just letting them go roam the city. It's not a conversation for right now necessarily, but I do like to advocate for people to really understand the animals. All animals, even the wild ones, have a purpose and have something here to learn for their own soul evolution. All right. Any other questions or comments? I would love to know if anyone thinks differently. Not as a debate, but I would love to, open up my own way of thinking a little bit if necessary, if there's something else other than a flat out, no, there's not. I'd like some reasoning behind it. No. All right. Well, my little Sunday night meanderings are short by nature, just because it's me. And until I fully evolve my own service. That's what it's going to be, I guess. But I love being able to have people on, and I would really love to know what else people want to talk about. So either message me or Facebook or tell me, since, you know, I talk to a lot of people, but anyone that is watching this later, for example, I'd love to know what other topics to bring up. And I suppose I could explore this more deeper. I just didn't really prepare to, because I didn't know what kind of feedback I'd be getting. I wasn't sure how to prepare. I'm still not, like I said, still in evolution. I'm not apologizing for anything. I just still working out how this works for me Sunday nights. But I love it. I love being available. So I'm open to just about anything someone requests. All right. Any last words, or I think I'll pray us out. Okay. All right. So in this glorious space, knowing that all is God, knowing that the animals, that we are all one being, we are connected. There is a point of presence of God, a point of presence of Holy Spirit in every single life. Not just my life, not just your life, but every single life has that point of presence. And everything that we do, everything that they do affects each other and affects everyone down the line, even though it might seem 100,000 connections away from us. There is a ripple effect that happens. So knowing that this is the truth, I'm going to choose my possibility of love tonight. I'm going to choose love, to spread love, to spread joy, to spread divine wisdom, and hoping that everyone downstream that might hear or listen or hear of something seeks their own truth to the answers that they want to know, because divine wisdom is available for everyone. Anyways, let's close this night together. Grateful for the opportunity to speak, the opportunity to learn, the opportunity to share. Grateful for a Sunday night, and so it is. All right, I am grateful to everyone. Thank you. I'm going to try to close this. My technology skills fail me a little bit sometimes, but good night.